under.
I have one question. Have you had your Hanks today? If not, what are you waiting for? Visit Hanks Frozen Custard and Mexican Food next to the YMCA today. From their famous assortment of frozen custard to tacos, burritos, taco salads, and more, Hanks Frozen Custard and Mexican is the place to go. Want to skip the line? Order on their website at gotohanks.com. Also on their website, sign up for rewards and score yourself some deals at Hanks. So what are you waiting for? Visit Hanks Frozen Custard and Mexican Food today. Hanks Frozen Custard and Mexican, a Beaver County staple since 1952.
Welcome to Garden Jargon with Charlie Durden right here on Beaver County Radio. Charlie is here to talk to you about everything having to do with your garden. Garden Jargon is being brought to you by Beaver County Radio 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Call in now and ask Charlie your gardening questions. Share if you have any gardening tips that have helped your garden grow. Phone numbers are 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. And now, without further ado, here's Charlie.
I'm not sure if I could ever do that again.
I hope not.
Did that quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
But,
So how you doing, Frank?
Good. Charlie's here. We're going to talk about gardening this morning. Oh, we don't want to play that. That's my old open. We don't play that. It's my normal open. But Charlie's here hanging out with us this morning, and we're going to talk a little bit about gardening and where we should be at this time of year. So winter's out. You know, it's kind of that spring. We're getting a little bit of a wet spring. Where should we be at with our garden at this point, Charlie?
Well, it is time. I want to talk about first is I want to aim this at new gardeners, somebody that's sitting on the fence. They don't know whether they want to eat those store-bought tomatoes for one more year or whether they like to have a real tomato in their BLT.
Okay, all right.
Okay. One of the most important things if you're going to put in a garden is don't go too big to begin with, because if it gets ahead of you, you'll get frustrated and you won't do it again. Start small. You can always expand it. You can make it a little bit bigger every year. But the things that you need for a good, successful garden, number one is access to sunlight.
Okay.
Okay. Morning sunlight is very important. Afternoon sunlight works, but afternoon sunlight is hotter. It will dry your plants out more. So if you're selecting a spot, if you can get all day sun, that's great. If you can only get partial sun, if you can, go for the morning sun. All right. So you got to pick a spot, and this sounds funny, but I've heard people say this: the grass never grew very good over there. We might as well put the garden over there. There's probably a reason the grass didn't grow.
Yeah, why would you put your garden out?
Well, but they don't want to tear up their lawn or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, you could. I guess you get soil tested, right, and then see what go from there. And why maybe you just
right. Well, that's
think it growing grass. I don't know.
Right, and here's the thing. Okay, when you pick the spot, do not spade or till that existing grass or vegetation under, because it doesn't die when you do that. You're just turning it upside down. You're going to put your plants, your seeds, whatever in there, and then that grass is going to come back up through. Mm-hmm. So before you spade it or till it or whatever, skim the sod off, okay? And then, yes, you talked about the soil test. If you don't have any idea what's going on with your soil, the 3 or 4 basic things. Number one is the pH of your soil. That's the acid alkalinity relationship. You can have all the correct nutrients in the ground, and if the pH isn't right, the plant cannot absorb the nutrients. Okay? So the things are this is your basic soil test. They want to test for pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. If you buy fertilizer, there's like dry fertilizer, there'll be 3 numbers on it. 5, 10, and 10, 10, 10, and 10, whatever it is. The first number is nitrogen. The second number is phosphorus. The third number is potash. Okay? If you get your soil tested, that soil test will tell you what nutrients are there, what may be lacking, what you need.
What is potash?
Well, you know what? The term comes from wood ash. Okay. And I used a lot of wood ashes in my garden, but potash is kind of a mineral kind of thing. Okay, without getting real technical.
Is that good or bad to have there?
It depends on what you're growing. You want, and here's the thing too. you can look up whatever you want to grow, what nutrients that particular plant needs. Some plants need a lot of nitrogen. Some stuff like corn needs a lot of nitrogen. Okay, where some things is like if tomato plants, if you get too much nitrogen, you'll get huge stalks and you won't get as many tomatoes. Okay, so you got your pH, your nitrogen, your phosphorus. Okay, and I'm going to give some phone numbers here, and I'm going to go through them quick, but this is going to be posted, right? It's going to Facebook thing.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. There are several places that you can get the soil tested. The master gardeners do it. Phone number 724-371-2062. Beaver County Conservation District does it, 724-378-1701. And this is the one that I like, okay? Geneva College will do it. Now, there's a fee to get your soil tested anywhere, okay? Really great guy. I just talked to him on the phone the other day. His name is Kerry McMahon. He's in the chemistry department up there. He will test your soil. He has his students. This is why I like this, Frank. He will have his students test your soil as a learning process. And what he asks is a donation to his program to help cover the cost of the reagents and the chemicals to do it. Okay? Now, Kerry is semi-retired. I'm going to give you a phone number. You may get a secretary. You may have to leave a message. But his phone number is 724-847-6710. Okay? And you can go without the soil test. You can wing it and say, well, I'll just get some fertilizer and put it in there. I'll put some lime down. Maybe it's sour. The sour ground means acidy ground. Okay. But for the basic price of a soil test, you know you're not going to waste your money with your plants and your fertilizer and the stuff that you buy. So I would recommend it, especially if it's a new place, or maybe you have a garden and it just didn't do very well. Okay. And you might want to find out what kind of nutrients it needs. Now, there's a whole nother layer of soil testing, and I'm only going to touch on this. It's very expensive. It tests for heavy metals, lead, cadmium, zinc, and stuff like that. That is a soil test you might want to get if you were really close to an industrial place, okay, where the fumes could have come out of a plant. Okay, I don't even know what that soil testing costs, but I know it's very much more expensive than your basic soil testing. I would say most places in Beaver County, I mean, unless you were right next to J&L, you know, or B&W or something, the basic soil test is going to be okay.
Now, how often should you get your soil tested?
Well, you know what? Get it tested to begin with, and work your soil, put your fertilizer and stuff in, and then actually a lot of people prefer to get it tested in the fall because you can add things to it in the fall and it can be in the ground all winter. Okay. So I wouldn't say every year, every couple of years. If your garden doesn't do any good, I would say get the soil tested again, you know, and get it checked. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, there's okay. You got your place cleared off, and you're going to spade it and get your soil tested. All right. And this is just a little, you know, get along with your neighbor type thing. You want to put in a garden, and your buddy's got a rototiller. Don't go over and say, "Can I borrow your rototiller?" Because number one, if you don't know how to run one, you might get hurt, right? Or you might break his rototiller or her rototiller. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is what I suggest you do. If Frank's got a rototiller and I want to put in a garden, I'm going to go and say, "Hey Frank, how about if I wash ginger, you go till up my garden?" And that works well. Okay, right. That way you're doing what you know how to do. I'm doing what I know how to do. Right. It's just because there have been hard feelings I've known on over the years. And I'll tell you something. You get a powerful rototiller, a big one like the one I got, you can get hurt. I have a rear tine tiller, which is really smooth to use. Front tine tillers, the 5 horsepower, you hit a rock or a piece of a tree stump, that thing is coming back at you like a rifle recoil. You can crack your ribs. You can break a wrist. Okay, and that's why I say, you know, if you like to get somebody a rototiller, and you can rent a rototiller. There's places that'll rent them to you, okay. And there's different sizes. And you go to rent the rototiller, they're going to ask you what you want to do. All right, like I say, get the sod off, get some dirt, get it tested, and if you're going to put a bigger, don't just get one sample. Go around, you know, all around different spots and put it in a bag and take it. If you call those phone numbers, they'll tell you how to get the sample. Okay, they'll tell you what you prefer. Okay, so if you got your spot picked and you got your ground prepped, you got your soil tested. Now, I'm going to go over, this isn't everything you can plant now. But this is some of the things. Okay, Dale Reckless was in here earlier. He was talking about what he had planted. Mm-hmm. Okay, right now I have onions, potatoes, carrots, and lettuce in. You can plant onions, potatoes, peas, carrots, lettuce, beets. All right, you can plant them now. Cabbage, they're not susceptible to a frost. Okay. Frost won't. A hard freeze is going to kill them. But by this time of year, hopefully, we're done with the hard freeze.
Hopefully.
Okay. Now, this is what you don't want to do, and this is where I get into some controversy with some people. Okay. You got these 75-degree days, and the sun's shining, and you've got some tomato plants, some pepper plants. You went to the greenhouse, whatever. Do not put them in till after Memorial Day. That is my grandfather was the best gardener I ever knew in my life. He wouldn't plant anything like that till after Memorial Day. You can wing it now. You can chance it, all right, but you're going to end up covering it, and it still might die. So it's hard. It's really hard. It's warm, and especially it's your first garden. You want to get it going,
right?
And if you put the stuff in real early when the ground's cold, it won't really do that well anyway. It's going to do better when the ground is warmer. A lot of the younger people, they say Mother's Day. I can remember 2 particular years that we had a killer frost between Memorial Day and Mother's Day. Okay.
Now, let me ask you this. At this point in time, like right now, what should you be, you were talking about what you can have in the ground. What should you be growing as seedlings in the house?
Okay. It's a little late for my scheduling to start seeds inside, but it's not too late.
Okay.
All right. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplant. You can start cucumbers in containers. All right. There's a little trick you can use. We call it bottom heat. If you put bottom heat on the plants, a heating pad. All right. Now there's a couple of options. You can go buy a regular commercial heating pad, a seed heating pad. Most of them you can put 2 trays. A tray of plants is about 72 plants. You can put 2 trays of plants on one heating pad. Sometimes they have a special. You can get 2 heating pads and get them for a good price. Okay, if you put bottom heat on them, they'll germinate quicker. Even I start mine the first week of May. Peppers and eggplant and stuff like that, I put the bottom heat on it. It's not as critical with stuff like cucumbers. Actually, I prefer to direct seed the cucumbers right into the ground. All right. So you can go and you can, if you're the beginning gardener, you can go buy the seed starting trays and all that stuff. You can use old yogurt containers. You can use all kind of. You see what?
He gave me. I'll put it on the screen here.
Yeah. Okay. And
purple tomatoes, right?
This is purple tomatoes. Yeah.
Okay.
You can
see, there we go.
Now this started really late.
Yeah.
I started that for Gabby.
Okay.
Those, if you go to the grocery store, they have these little like grape-sized tomatoes, and they're purple.
Yeah.
All right. That's what that is. And there's a there's a history behind that. My daughter went to visit my granddaughter when she was in college in Michigan, and the college had an ag program, and she brought me back some plants. All right. And I checked this. That's not a hybrid, so I saved the seeds. I've grown them every year, and now that container that's in there, this is why this is neat. I don't start a whole lot like that, but the Frito-Lay potato chip containers, they're plastic.
Right.
Okay, so you cut the bottom off, and you can see the yellow top there. That's okay.
Right.
All right, grow them in there on a sunny windowsill. You got to be careful. Tomatoes are one of the really easy to overwater the tomatoes. Okay. So you got to be, and if it does, pop the bottom a little bit and let the water come out. But what's neat about that, especially if you only put 1 or 2 plants in, you just dig a hole and take that bottom off and put that down and bury it all the way down into the plant. And when you put your nutrient around a plant, that container holds a nutrient right around it.
Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just I don't throw things away if I can reuse.
I hear you.
Yeah, and like you say, the Pringles cans don't work because they're paper; they'll disintegrate.
Right.
Those will work, and that's something that's kind of neat. And if you just want to do 1 or 2 plants, you can play around with something like that. And I don't know, it's kind of a novelty thing.
Let me ask you this: so you're planning on doing garden, and you got your garden all planned out, and we'll say you have a section of tomatoes and maybe room for 10 or 12 tomato plants.
Okay.
How many plants should you actually do seedlings for ahead of time? Because you want to do extra just to be safe, correct?
I always start more. I start a lot that I don't plant myself, and I end up giving a lot of them away around to the neighborhood. But it's you got to figure if you only want a dozen tomato plants, start 2 dozen. Okay, because they're not all going to live and they're not all going to prosper. Pepper plants, pepper seeds take longer to germinate. They definitely benefit from the bottom heat, even if you start them early. So peppers, pretty much start what you want. It's hard to say, and like I keep stressing with people, is start modest. You can always make it. We got a call?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, you can finish your thought. I just was.
I don't have any thoughts.
That's true. We know that.
Yeah.
All right. Good morning. You're on Beaver County Radio.
Yeah, calling in to talk to the garden jargon.
Go ahead. You got him.
Yeah. I was calling about. I'm ready to plant the potatoes, and I brought them out the basement, and I cut them up, and they're ready to go. But how long should I let them dry and callus over before planting them?
Okay, that's a good question. What you have to do with potatoes. All right, now, for years I said don't try to plant the potatoes that you buy in the grocery store because they spray them with an inhibitor to keep them from sprouting. They apparently don't do that anymore. Potatoes are sprouting like crazy that you buy in the grocery store. So if you have some, you can buy some seed potatoes, or if you have some ones you bought to eat and they're sprouting, if you cut them, when you cut the potato up, you look, there are eyes on the potato. The eyes are what the sprout will turn into the sprout to make the plant, okay?
Yeah.
Cut the potato so you make sure you have at least one eye in each section. 2 or more is better, all right? Cut them, you'd be like quartered them up. Put them in a cardboard box in a dry place, and it's, I'm going to say 3-4 days. When you touch the area of the potato, the flesh of the potato, when you touch that, if it's dry to the touch, it's good to plant. If you plant them before they scab out properly, they may rot when they grow, especially in the spring when there's a lot of rain.
Sound good. Hey, another question. I'm also contemplating how should I space out the garden so I can harvest in different parts of the season? Like, when should I plant the corn, and how long should I wait to plant it again? Or with the tomatoes also, because last year we had an abundance of tomatoes, and I felt like we planted too many at the same time, and a lot went to waste. So I'm thinking maybe we should space it out a little bit, like plant some now and then wait another 30, 40 days, whatever, and plant them again. What do you think?
Well, good question. Good question. What you can do is when you get your tomato seeds or plants, if you look on the seed package, or you look on, like if you go to the greenhouse or whatever and you buy plants, there'll be a little tab in that seedling container. You look on your tomatoes, and there are determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. The determinate tomatoes produce all the tomatoes at one time. Commercial growers love those because they want to go out and they want to harvest, okay? If you buy the plants that are indeterminate, you don't have to worry about spacing them. You plant those plants, you will get tomatoes gradually all season from the time they start to ripen until the end of the growing season. So, yeah, if you were going to grow it, I wouldn't recommend a determinate type. They're more for the commercial growers. If you get the indeterminate, it will gradually produce all summer, and you won't have that. You got all these tomatoes, and you don't know what to do with them, and then you don't have any. So go for the indeterminate tomato, and that'll solve that problem for you.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate your help, man.
All right. You have a great day.
You too.
All right. You can call with your questions at 724-843-1888. And we're going to take a short break. Noah's going to be in for news. And Charlie will be back to answer more of your questions and talk more on Garden Jargon here on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Transit Authority connects you to where you want to be. The doctor's office or well-deserved shopping spree will take you to wherever you please. Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Hop on, adventures coming your way. Beaver County Transit Authority, BCTA. ride the bus.
BCTA Connect, your ride to out-of-county destinations, is live now. You can book a trip as soon as today to destinations in Cranberry, Wexford, Warrendale, Moon, Sewickley, Leetsdale, and more with the BCTA Connect mobile app. For medical, employment, or any other trip need, BCTA connects you to out-of-county stops. Download the free app today.
Beaver County Transit Authority, BCTA, ride the bus.
It's time to wake up, Beaver Valley, with Pastor David Grove from the Church of the Redeemed of Beaver Valley. Tune in to Beaver County Radio this and every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. It's time to wake up and turn our hearts back to Jesus Christ. So wake up early this Saturday and tune in to Wake Up Beaver Valley from 9 until 10 a.m. right here on Beaver County Radio.
Back by popular demand, The Time Machine with Frank Sparks. Every Friday from 10 a.m. to noon, we'll strap into our 1968 VW Bus Time Machine and head back in time to a year that is picked out by a listener.
Tell me, doctor, where are we going this time?
We'll talk about all of the trends and listen to songs from the Hot 100 of that year. So mark your calendar to tune in each and every Friday here on Beaver County Radio.
You've got big dreams, and Community College of Beaver County turns dreams into degrees. Choose your path in business, criminal justice, education, health sciences, industrial technology, and more. Build your skills or prepare to transfer, all at a realistic cost and with lots of support. Strong futures start at CCBC. Stop dreaming, start doing. Enroll for spring at ccbc.edu/spring26.
If you own a company or a small business, you might have considered advertising on radio. It's smart because radio is still the most far-reaching media outlet today. WBVP and WMBA can get you results. Get more information at beavercountyradio.com.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning. On this Wednesday, April the 15th of 2026, we will have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette will no longer cease publishing in May because it is being acquired by a nonprofit media group that is based in Baltimore, Maryland. Block Communications Incorporated of Toledo, Ohio is the current owner of the paper, and they announced back on January 7th that the 240-year-old newspaper will cease its operations on May 3rd. However, the newspaper announced yesterday that Block Communications Incorporated is selling it to the Venetoulis Institute for Local Journalism, the publisher of the Pulitzer Prize-winning Baltimore Banner. The sale will go into effect on May 4th. Old Economy Village has now announced its 2026 calendar of public programs and events, offering visitors a range of opportunities to explore 19th century life through demonstrations, living history, and seasonal programming. In addition to these events, Old Economy Village will host an America 250 series, which connects the site's history to the broader context of the United States' 250th anniversary, as well as Homeschool Days, which provide structured, hands-on educational programming for students and families. There are events that are coming up, and more details about them can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com, and you can also visit oldeconomyvillage.org for the full calendar. Sheetz was recently named as one of 20 finalists for Best Gas Station for Food in the United States category of USA Today's 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards. Panelists from the magazine recognized Sheetz for its consistent, fresh, and affordable menu with the made-to-order menu items and a variety of beverage options. You can vote for Sheetz once per day until May 4th at noon by going to the website on our website at beavercountyradio.com. U.S. Senators John Fetterman and Katie Britt's Stop the Scroll Act passed the U.S. Senate Commerce Committee yesterday in Washington, D.C. by voice vote. The bipartisan bill would create a mental health warning label requirement for users under the age of 18 on social media platforms. ensuring that minors are aware of the potential mental health risks posed by social media usage and are provided access to mental health resources. Police are looking for a missing 15-year-old boy. According to the Mount Lebanon Police Department, he was last seen on Monday in McKees Rocks. He is 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighs around 140 pounds, and has brown eyes and curly brown hair. Police also confirmed that he frequents the mall at Robinson. Anyone with information on his location is asked to call 911. His picture can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com. And 29-year-old Shakir's Foster pleaded guilty in court in Allegheny County on Monday to involuntary manslaughter and delivery and was sentenced to 2.5 to 6 years in state prison because he provided fentanyl, which killed a 15-year-old girl from Oakdale on May 14, 2024. Investigators tracked the fentanyl delivery to Foster after several investigative methods. According to a release from Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday's office, witnesses saw Foster enter the victim's apartment on May 7, 2024, and leave a short time later. The victim ultimately died a week later at the hospital.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Today it'll be partly sunny and breezy with a chance of rain and possible thunderstorms. We'll reach highs near 83 and drop down to lows of 65. And tomorrow the gusty winds are going to continue along with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Look for highs of 81 and lows of 60. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, April the 15th of 2026, at 38 minutes after 11, we've got a temperature of 75 degrees with mostly cloudy skies currently in Beaver County. And that's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230, WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Jargon with Charlie Dirt right here on Beaver County Radio. It's being brought to you at Beaver County Radio 95.7, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. The phone lines are now open 724-843-1888, 724-774-1888.
Now's your chance if you want to talk to Charlie Dirt and talk about your garden. He's got answer your garden questions. Charlie comes in all the time. And Charlie speaks from experience because a lot of times he's trying to help you not make the errors he made along the way.
Well, and I always say this, Frank. I haven't made all the mistakes, but I've made most of them.
Yeah.
And my gardening motto is this: there's the right way, the wrong way, and the way that works for you. If your neighbor comes over and says, you can't grow your tomato plants that way, and you got a handful of tomatoes, it worked. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because everything doesn't work the same for everybody. And something I did, I kind of skipped over. I didn't mean to. The place for your garden, ready access to water. You don't want a nice sunny place that you're going to have to run 200 feet of garden hose, because there's something, it's either in the Constitution or somewhere it says, as soon as thou shalt plant the garden, it shall stop raining.
Yeah, dream on.
Yeah. So you're going to have to water it, and so I kind of skipped over that. So
okay, well, you sent a couple pictures. Let's talk about those. So I know in the past I used to always, and I'm gonna put them up on the board for everybody that's watching on Facebook and YouTube. But in the past, when I used to have a different industry I worked in, I used to always give you the shredded paper from the bank.
Yeah,
buddy.
buddy.
And you used to use that. So tell us, I've got up on the screen, if you're watching on Facebook, a photo of lots of paper that Charlie put in the ground.
Okay.
Why?
Do you have the picture before that of the potatoes and the furrows?
I do, yeah. I can put that up too if you want. Here, I'll put that up first.
Put that up first, if you would, please.
Okay. All right, there's the first one. It's up now.
Now, our last caller was just talking. Those are red Pontiac potatoes that I planted. If you're watching on Facebook, you can actually see the sprouts. Okay, There's where they come up in the eyes. All right, I cut those potatoes. I let them scab for 3 or 4 days, and I cut the furrows. I tilled some fertilizer into the soil, and cut the furrows, and I planted the potatoes. Now,
so you just let them sit all winter or whatever like that?
Well,
and then they grow the sprouts like that? Is that how that works?
You want to hear something weird, and I'm not making this up.
Okay.
And I found this out by accident. I would take my potatoes that I would grow, and I would use the smaller ones for seed potatoes for the next year.
Okay.
I have a coal cellar.
Right.
Okay, I'm sure you do too. And I have to say this: our old hunky houses, you know, with the Pittsburgh toilets and
This is my favorite place to go in the house.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh potty. Nobody else is allowed to use but me.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So I have a coal cellar because all the old houses had coal furnaces. So I put my potatoes and my onions and my garlic in there when I harvest them, and I keep them in there. It's cool, but it's not cold. And
I got you.
All right. Well, if you store your potatoes in the same room that you store the garlic, the gases from the garlic enhances the sprouting of the potatoes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And I found that out by accident. And so if you don't want your potatoes sprout, don't store them in the same place. Okay. But if you store them with the garlic, they'll sprout. Now, when the eyes start to form where the sprout's going to be, it'll just be like a little nub.
Right.
Okay. And you can tell it's like a little bump in the skin of the potatoes. Those in that picture, those are very exaggerated. Those sprouts are probably 2.5 or 3 inches
Well,
long.
that's why I asked, because they're some pretty long sprouts.
Right. And I waited to put them in the ground. I had to wait for the ground to get dry enough to till. Every time I get ready to go out to till this year, it rained or snowed or something, you know. So you have to keep the moisture in the soil to be successful, and you have to keep the weeds out of the soil. I'm in my 7th decade. Bending over to weed is not one of my favorite things to do.
Gotcha.
Okay? So you can mulch your potatoes with straw. You can mulch your tomato plants with straw and keep the moisture in, keep the weeds away. Now, years ago, you wouldn't dare use shredded paper, because back when Scott was working for the Beaver County Times, that newspaper ink had lead in it.
Okay.
You would be inducing the heavy metals into the soil that I was telling you about getting tested for.
Right.
Okay. One good thing the EPA did quite a few years ago, they made them go to a soy-based ink. There is no lead in the ink anymore. So you can shred paper and use it as mulch. So that one picture there, after I planted the potatoes, okay, I had shredded paper I put down, and I missed not getting it from you, Frank, even though the bags weighed 100 pounds and I couldn't pick them up and get them in my
Usually I had to put them in a truck for you.
Yeah. Here's some shredding, Charlie. Then you can go get to the doctor's appointment. But and I appreciate it. My daughter works for a CPA, so I get shredding. Plus, I shred my own paper. I have a paper shredder.
Yeah.
Okay. And this sounds stupid, but it's wet it down with a hose as you're spreading it, because when the wind blows, your shredding will be in your neighbor's yard, and then
then you won't be a good neighbor anymore.
Yeah, your potatoes are going to dry out and get weeds in them, and your neighbor is going to be over there yelling at you. So I was, and you know how windy it's been lately. I was wetting it as I was putting it down. Now, I plant garlic in the fall. You plant garlic in the fall, you dig it in July. I mulch the garlic really heavy with the shredded paper when I plant it in the fall, and then I mulch it again in the spring because it will rot down. It's an organic kind of thing. But it's a safe way, it's a good way to keep the weeds away, keep the moisture in, and mulching is as old as gardening. Okay? And you, like I say, you can use straw, you can use hay. I have a buddy that he gets old hay from a farmer, you know, that is no good for feed anymore. He use whatever's handy, so, or whatever's practical. So you want to mulch that kind of stuff, and that's what that's all about. The two pictures. Do we have the other picture? You can't put the one up at the heat pad?
No, I don't. No, it won't let me pull it up.
Okay, okay. Let's talk about starting the seeds inside, all right?
Okay.
And if you're going to start them inside, I have a portable greenhouse, and it kind of snaps together, and I can put 12 trays of plants in it. You snap it together, and then when you're done with it, when you got your plants, you take it apart and put it back in a box. It's got a plastic cover.
Okay.
You never get that cover folded up to get it back in. I don't know how they fold. I don't know how they fold it. But anyways, don't start your plants inside if you can't get them adequate sunlight. And I say, and this is what, Frank, I don't believe how many houses they don't put windowsills anymore.
No.
I mean, all the old houses, my mother and my grandmother, they all had flowers and stuff. They had windowsills.
Yeah.
Okay.
My house is older, and my living room has no windowsills, but when we remodeled, I put wood windowsills in.
Yeah. Well, I put wider windowsills in mine, and I put in my bedroom windows upstairs, I put 3 trays of plants. In each window, I have a shelf. that brackets and the shelves. And then when I'm done with the then I take the shelves, and take them off, and close the curtains back up again.
Right.
But if you got to get the sun, okay, and the heating pads, you don't have to go buy a heating pad. You may have an old heating, you had a sore shoulder, sore back or something. You bought a heating pad. They work just as well. Okay, you can put the trays of plants on there, and you might want to put a piece of plastic down over it so you don't, if you want to reuse the heating pad for like a medical purpose. But the heating pad, it helps a lot, especially if you're starting your seeds this late. And when you're starting seeds, okay, dirt is not dirt. Okay, Scott and I have been talking. He's going to spread topsoil in his raised beds, which is a good idea because he has no idea, what's there. He sent me some pictures. He should be good to go with them wooden frames. Okay, and like Dale Reckless was saying, he's going to save his back because he's not bending over as far.
Right.
All right. So if you have topsoil, that is something that you would buy and put in your garden outside. And if you have a big garden or a big area, you may want a truckload of topsoil. You may want to buy it by the bag. It depends on the size of your garden. So topsoil is for that. Your other medium is potting soil.
Okay.
That's that real black kind of mulchy looking stuff. And that's if like Dawn wants to have a geranium plant in the window or something. She goes to the green. Potting soil is for potting plants or maybe for container gardening outside, potting soil. The best thing for starting your seeds, it's a seed starter mix. You can buy it, the size of the bag is by the quart. I think there's like 6 quart, 8 quart. I buy a big bale of it because I started a lot of seeds. All right. That stuff is dry as dust. You can't plant the seeds in that per se the way it is. If you've ever mixed concrete, okay, you put your concrete in your container, you add your water.
Right.
You have to do that with the seed starter mix. And what I do, and this is what I do, you can do whatever you want. I don't just, you have to mix up that starting mix with the water. Make it like the consistency of concrete, cement. Okay. I don't just use water. I use Miracle Grow and Epsom salts as a nutrient. It's a tablespoon per gallon of water.
Okay.
Your seedlings don't want it that strong.
Okay.
They'll die. Okay. It's just like, when Gabby was 3 months old, she had her formula, but you couldn't give her a T-bone steak.
Right.
Okay. Your plants are the same way.
Okay.
Same exact thing. So I use a half a tablespoon of Epsom salts and a half a tablespoon to a gallon of water, tepid water, and mix it up, and then mix it. I can get a bucket and mix it in there and get it till you get it the right consistency where it's just, you can put it into your seed starting tray or whatever kind of container you're going to use. So seed starting mix is for one purpose. It's not necessarily good for potting plants. Potting soil is for growing plants in container, and your topsoil is what you're going to spread outside. Okay, we got a call?
Yep, jump out the phone lines. Good morning, you're on Beaver County Radio.
Hey, Frank.
Bill, what's up?
Oh, same old. I figure I ain't going to call. Oh, yeah, he hit something for me.
Charlie's on it today.
When I worked at Gump's right out of high school.
Okay.
And a popular thing they did, they did whole yards and Michael Bakers and stuff. They used to sanitize it. We used to steam it. There was a big bin, and they steamed it.
You talking
I
about?
didn't know if that's still a thing or not.
Are you talking about seed starting material?
No, the topsoil. The topsoil itself.
That would be an excellent idea because a lot of times this topsoil, it's skimmed off like they're doing a housing development or something. Okay, and they'll skim off that topsoil because they want to build houses, and that's what they sell. And that's a good idea because you don't know what kind of microbes could be in there.
Oh yeah.
You don't know.
When we were done, I'm talking what the handful we did that I really noticed was from like scratch, ripping your entire yard, trees, everything. And yeah, it was just a big steam like machine. And I think they called it sanitize it.
Well, I haven't seen it for years, but I have seen in the store package. It's sanitized seed starting mix.
Okay, that's what. Okay, thanks. Frank, you know my issues.
I got you.
Well, I'm not going to tell.
I like 18 going on 19?
I'm not going to tell you my issues, but sometime you can Frank. He can tell you my issues.
Oh, okay. I could take a wild guess on a few of them, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, you sound like
the
you're
new Brighton thing, especially if they're from Brighton.
There you go.
Yeah, you got issues.
Hey, he's from Beaver Falls anyway, so you know about him, Bill.
Enough rocks over the bridge.
Yeah, right. There you go. All right, buddy. Appreciate you calling.
Yeah, I was wondering if it still was, because once that got out, we had a lot of you could come and get bags of it. They might still do it. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you, even if you were going to buy a smaller amount, I would say it's going to cost you more, I'm sure.
Right.
But it might be well spent money, because you know what's in that soil.
Depending on your budget, God knows what it would be. But no, you could get truckloads of it, and they sanitize it as needed.
That's cool.
Thanks for
how things grew.
Look at that. You taught Charlie something today.
Okay. Hey, all right.
I'm old.
Join the club.
When I was 18, dude.
Hey, old is not an exclusive fraternity around here.
No, it's experience. It's not old, it's experience.
Hands on.
Yeah,
okay,
there you go. All right, Bill. All right, Bill, thanks for calling.
Hey, since Bill brought that up, that is something else that I always want to talk about. If you're going to go out and garden, get a tetanus shot.
Okay.
Okay? Because just like Bill, you don't know what kind of microbes is in that soil, all right?
Right.
A lot of people use manure for fertilizer, which is the old school way, and that's a perfectly fine way to fertilize. But horse manure is full of tetanus bacillus.
Okay.
And the tetanus bacillus can live in the ground for years and years and years. And I speak from bitter experience because my grandfather, who taught me an awful lot about gardening, died from tetanus.
Okay.
It's a horrible way to die.
Yep.
Horse manure, okay? And people think, well, it's been years since I put that horse manure out there, okay? Our family doctor, when I was a kid, advocated getting the tetanus shots, okay? And we got them especially after my grandfather died. He was stationed in Europe in World War II, and the Germans used caissons. That's horse-drawn wagons.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about the German soldiers dying from tetanus over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it scared the bejesus out of our whole family.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it's not as lethal as it used to be. They used to say it kills 5 out of 7 people. It doesn't kill as many people anymore, but your life is not the same after you have it.
So I hear.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we got to have you back next month, huh?
Well, I ain't doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing.
Well, all right. We'll figure out a day and get you come back next month.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Talk more, because it'll be time to start getting ready to put your tomatoes and stuff in.
Yeah, and we'll prep a show. We'll do it.
All right. We'll do it right before I go on vacation. How's that?
Down in North Carolina?
Yeah, going to North Carolina. Yeah.
All right.
So, watch the cars go round. That's what everybody says. You going to go watch them cars go round.
Well, you know what?
Yep.
You got me watching NASCAR because I still watch it, but it's go straight, turn left, go straight, turn left. That's why I like the road courses, and you don't like them.
No, I don't. You can't pay me to. I know what we both do like, and we're going to hear from him right now. You know what that is?
What's that?
Saturday night's Paul Skeen's night, winning the Cy Young. So, see you next month, Charlie.
Yep.
All right.
Stay safe, guys.
All right.
Pirates fans, the Tampa Bay Rays are in town to